All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. I want to make one more because I think these three are actually really interesting. Look, truth be told, there's a lot of really good tickers out there right now, and it really is. I'll look at the ETFs. When QQQ, which is identical to NASDAQ, is over all five moving averages and just taking off, when SPY, which is identical to the SP 500, is, and let me just zoom in too, just taking off, and when DIA is finally, because this is the one that hadn't been, it's finally taking off when they're all looking identical and they're all over all the moving averages. That's an amazing thing. You hear me call the indices the ocean, right? When the ocean is calm, when you're over all five instead of under even one, let alone multiple, right? It's a lot easier to take any boat deep and deep and deep into the ocean, and that means deep into the profits in my eyes, right? So as these indexes, as the indices, that's how you say it, right? It's a weird word. As they just stay over the lines and keep going up, all we can really think all we can think is good, right? So plug. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Today was obviously a big 30% day. We're basically sitting, not even yet. Are we here? Yeah, we're at half this guy, right? But there's a lot of reason to think that this might make another leg up to a buck 70. That's basically another 20% right here, right? Because 14 cents is 10%. That's basically 30 cents right there, right? So that's a nice 170 if it hits. If that breaks, you'll obviously see my lines up there, and we'll talk about that shortly, right? FFAI, look, it's same basic thoughts. This one already broke the 100 that we were looking for, and it is now at the 200. Been trying. This is obviously the best single attempt, but we care more than just a single line, right? And I know I said this on the last video. Look at how difficult that purple line is, right? We've basically been under it since the inception of that line, right? So that purple line is not easy, but if this actually is the first time we're going to break it, oh my goodness, you can only imagine what's going to happen, right? So FFAI again has my attention going. And then the last one I wanted to talk about is Bull. All right. We did amazing on Bull during the IPO. Crystal, I mean, she brought this to the table for the team, and man, that I will never forget that. But look, you lose the death line and horrible things happen, but when you're trying to and kind of seemingly getting on the better side of the 8 and the 20, you know you're going to get my attention. And when the lines are down here and the next one is up here all the way at almost 14, oh, okay, let's start looking at this. So I think Bull is well worth eyes. And hey, you can see it. We've now been trading for more than 50 days. We now have a 50-day line forming. Today's actually the first day over it, right? And roughly speaking, today's been the first good day in a minute. So 1, 2, 3, again, I really liked all three of these. I wanted to at least talk just a little bit about them. And one more time, all right, when the NASDAQ is over all five moving averages, when the S&P 500 is over all five moving averages, and when the Dow Jones, right, I was looking at QQQ, SPY, and DIA, these are the actual indices themselves, when they look this good, everything we trade and everything we put our hard-earned money in should look good as well, right? So a lot to like on these for sure, all right? But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our five moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So I think I'm going to chapter all three of these together because really I'm a little bit of a hurry. But like I said, I really want to talk about these, all right? So no, let's just give them each their love. I apologize for that. So this one we're going to do just plug right here. Look, I think what I easily love is this volume. All right, I know it's easy to focus on a monster 28%. I know it's easy to focus on this lovely candle finally getting over that 100 moving average. That's good volume. That's the first day we've been anywhere near the line in over 2 full weeks of trading, right? We were nowhere near it between the 16th and Friday, right? Let alone the couple days before the 16th, right? So that's important. Look, volume is the foundation for momentum. You need a lot of volume for momentum to run, right? So I like it that we're over the line. I like how much we're over that 50 line, right? Like we were only expecting this much volume down here. We basically doubled it, right? So I need this to replicate tomorrow, and from there the rest will happen up here organically, right? So baseline minimum, I think I'm looking for this candle here. We're looking for 270 million shares, and if I want 270 million shares in a 7-hour day, we're basically looking, wasn't that the exact same number I did on the last video? Oh, that's wild. We're basically looking for around 40 million shares. That's what we're looking for. If we can get around 40 million shares the first hour, maybe 80 million shares that second hour, oh man, it's going to be hard to stop this thing for sure. All right. So, look, there's basically a single horizontal point right around here, and that's basically to the penny what the 200 moving average is, right? I showed it in the opening thoughts. We basically got stopped at 50% of this candle right here, right? And this is pretty much the only thing anywhere down here. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, to me, at this point, it's one of two things. Either we're going to continue on up to $1.70, or we might come down to about $1.40. I think it should be really hard to lose that $1.40 in all honesty, all right? If it does happen, I could see us coming down to that $1.30, 33 range, but really the goal is just start to creep, go into that 150 range, and yeah, I mean, we're basically expecting 170. Again, sorry, I got confused with the other one. Plug. You can see this is a very difficult line. All right. There's been moments over it. There's been moments over it. There's been moments over it. But the easy thing to say is since 2021, and arguably a lot of it really happened in 2020, but since right here in early 2021, we've basically been under that 200 moving average. For 4 years, that's been a tough purple line. If this gets over 170, I mean, there's a lot of red, red, red that can turn quickly into green, green, green. You see my next lines up, but really, I don't want to talk about those just yet, all right? We need to get over that purple line, and really, that 170 is going to be the main focus, all right? If we get over 170, I think you can start thinking 220, all right? I think it's going to be a little aggressive to think above 220. I think what really is helpful is the fact that the RSI is really low. That's a lovely 60, actually. If volume comes back and it starts to go, I'll be honest, maybe we can even start to talk about 340. Maybe this is a decent view to look at right here, because I think a 60 to an 80 or even higher RSI might be able to take out a couple resistances, right? But for now, I can't stress it enough. 170 is the up line. 140 is the low line. All right. And really, I wouldn't panic unless we lost 125. I think that's the bad line right there. All right. On the weekly, yeah, it's basically the same story, right? We've been struggling. I zoomed in too much. Sorry. We've been struggling with that 20 moving average, that orange line right there. It's been a couple moments. And really, no, this year we've basically been under it the entirety of it, right? So it's been a tough little orange line right there, right? What's this sitting at? Is it almost the same 170? Yeah, look at that. On the weekly, the next moving average is at 177. We just said 170 on the daily. I think that's the perfect next line. And really, the weekly confirms it. If we break this, there's actually a decent chance, like I said, we might even go up 2 lines to that 330, 340, and this thing kind of says maybe the same thing. So plug is worth our eyes for sure. It's really going to start with the volume. We need that 40 million per hour, hopefully around 80. Oh, if it's more than 80 in that first 2 hours, that last 5 hours could be pretty good, actually. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. The next one I want to look at is FFAI. We as me, obviously, but just made a video on FFAI, actually a good amount of discussion on the Discord for this thing. So Look, you hear me talk about channels all the time. When you break the 100, you can get to the 200. When the 100's down here and the 200's all the way up there, that's a beautiful thing right there, right? We talk about the 8 and the 20 as a team, right? You might lose the 8, but the 20 should be a real strong line and help you bounce back over and go, right? So excuse me, sorry. I don't know what that was. Sorry about that. I really actually like the technical move I see right there. The 200 is a tough line. It's the last one of the five for a reason, right? So makes sense it's going to reject, but I'm glad the lines did their job, right? And we talked about it in the opening thoughts. Just look at this thing, right? I'm going to just zoom in because clearly we've never even been over it since right here, since 2022, okay? Let's take a better look from here, dun, 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 to here. Dun, dun. Come on, don't freeze on me, baby. What's going on? Oh, I apologize. What's going on? There we go. Okay, cool. Look, you can see the line starts right here on day 200. We basically lose it in 2021. We retest it once in 2022 and then never again. All right. Also, please do not look at this. Think to yourself, this thing was 100K. It's only a dollar something. This is an amazing deal. Like, no, that's how you lose a lot of money. All right. If it was up here, and it actually really wasn't, there were a lot of reverse splits that make it look like this. But if you're up here and it's down there, please, I've lost so much money thinking that, and that's not how it works. All right. Immediately, again, remember the difficulty of this line. All right. 3 years completely under it, arguably never over it well since 2021, right? So if we can get over this, my goodness, red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 nothing, nothing, it actually could be a real fast climb to right there. I think I should probably draw that. I think that's going to be our 1, 2, 3 right there. If we break, I think this is our money line. If we break $1.80, I'll be honest, I want to set that alert 181. An alert's not an immediate buy notification, it's a come check it out. If we break 181, I think that will take us to, I said that with a weird accent, I apologize. That'll take us up to 230. If you break 230, my goodness, that's where beautiful things happen. Maybe that line right there is worth keeping a back pocket, 280, but yeah, a lot to like with that 1, 2, 3 right there. All about the 200 moving average. Again, this is a tech stock. Nasdaq looks good. S&P 500 look good. This should looks good. This should look good, and so far it's trying, and trying is step one of looking good, right? So let me know your thoughts. Did I look at the weekly? I did look at the weekly. I did not look at the weekly. No. Look, this is a nice weekly. Again, we good candle, no confirmation. Doji doesn't count. This is setting up well. Look, it's the first day of the week, so we can't get crazy excited. We still got Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Remember, it's a short week this week, right? But that's setting up for a nice candle. We're over the moving averages, and the next line up is actually over my 230 line, right? It's the next moving average is all the way at 250, right? So a lot to like on the daily, a lot to like on the weekly. This is where I'll say it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Last one I want, not can you, oh, BBAI. That's how obsessed I am with that ticker. Bull, not BBAI. Bull. I want to talk about webull real quick, all right? There's an interesting thing I like to talk about when I look at a stock like this. There's friends, people I watch trade, etc. I know multiple people that actually will not trade a stock until they have more lower indicators. So what does that mean, right? On these first 7 days, there was literally nothing, right? There were only candles. The first moving average doesn't come until this eighth day right there, right? There still is no MACD. The MACD doesn't start till right here. You don't even get both lines till right here, right? So I know people that won't start trading until this point right here. When they have some MACD, they've already had the RSI, and they have a couple moving averages. I know other people that need at least a third one. And again, there's so many different, and then obviously there was us who just crushed this thing on the IPO, right? So there's so many different ways to trade stocks. There's so many different strategies, but whenever a stock looks like this and I can see the entirety of the life in a single zoom, I like mentioning that. But look, I'm liking bull a lot, all right? Good things happen over the 8 and the 20, bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. And my goodness, we've been under the 8 and the 20 for a long time now, right? This is the first and best candle over the 8 moving average and the 20 moving average. Excuse me, sorry about that. I meant to say the 20 mainly. But really what I like is a good attempt, no confirmation. Good attempt, no confirmation. Good. We're trying and trying and trying and trying back to back, rapid. A resistance can only resist for so long. You know what I mean? So I like that constant barrage, the constant attack, right? And kind of looking at the after hours move, it's continuing on up. You know, I ignore that generally, right? But that's a nice thing to see. But look, break the 8, you'll go to the 20, break the 20, you'll go to the 50. 50's all the way up here at basically 14, right? So a lot to really like. There's a real nice shot right there. MACD is still negative. The zero line's not forming, but you can obviously see the number is actually negative, right? What I do like though, I see green over red, and really it's this volume right here. This was almost 50% higher than we were expecting, right? We were expecting less than 10, basically 9. We brought home 14, right? So that's a nice break and a nice beat of the 50-day average line. Really, we got to do it one more time, right? What I would love, yeah, that's basically where we were these days right here. We really need to get around 17, 18 million shares. I think if we can get, let's use 18. Let's strive for more, right? If we want 18 million shares in a 7-hour day, we basically want 2.5 million shares per hour. Give me around 6 in that second hour, right? Give me a little bit more than 5, and I think that'll give us a lot of reason to think that this will come to 13 to 14, excuse me. If this thing gets over 1380, I think that's actually a good alert because that's going to bring you nicely into this candle. 1380, that's a little too high right there. 1381. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but break 1380 and all I see is green, red, nothing, all the way up to our original death line of 27, right? So webull knows how to run. It might try again if, and it's a big if, I promise you, it can get over that 50, right? If this thing, I'd be worried if this thing came to 1125. Because if it comes to 1125, it might quickly come to 11. This thing is game over under 1075. Okay? That's for sure the death line. That's basically 50% of this candle. You're going to lose all of that. It is game over under 1075. My worry does come, like I said, around 1130, and then hopefully it doesn't go any lower than that. All right, but yeah, there's like I said, there's a good reason to think that this thing might come to almost 14. That's at least why I wanted to make this quick video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.